here today we have chess. Now this is a chess mat. There are blocks of two different colors, one is dark and one is light. And the total number of blocks are 32, 16 of each color. On the left hand side we have numbers 1 to 8, and on the bottom we have alphabets in smaller case, that is A to H. Now the alphabets are called files. So all these are called files, and the numbers are called ranks. So if I have to tell you that the queen is on a certain block, I will have to name it as D1. So I will say D and 1. Now placement, how to place the pieces. Now all these that you see here, black and white, are called pieces. Regardless of their names, they are all known as pieces. So from the white piece I picked out the queen. Now the queen goes on its same color. So white on a white block. The king will go on the opposite color on the right hand side next to it. Next we have bishops. Bishops are two. Okay. We have two bishops, one on the left and one on the right. After that we have two knights. These are known as knights. They look like a half-headed horse, and at the corners, on both the corners, we have the rook, okay, which is locally known as elephant. It's locally known as elephant. The knight is locally known as a horse. The bishop, the king, and the queen. Now we have 8 pawns. These are known as pawns. So we have 8 pawns, and they can be placed according to how you like, as they are all of the same type, same size, same shape. Now this white side that you see, the white side that you see is offensive side, and now here I am going to place the black side. So we have the black queen on the darker color. We have the king on the opposite color. We have the bishop on the left and right. We have the knights next to them. And finally at the corners we have the rook. And we end with a line of 8 pawns. 8 pawns. So the defensive color is black. So the black is the defensive color. Now I will explain in detail, taking the white offensive side, so that it's more easier for you to understand. So let's begin with the pawn. Now the pawn, this is called the pawn, okay, or known as the pawn. Now the pawn moves one step at a time. It moves one block at a time. Now it can also move 2 blocks, but only at the first move. Now from here, first move, I can move it 2 blocks. And it always moves in the forward direction or the forward pattern. It cannot come back or it cannot reverse. Now how does it kill? Okay. It can kill another pawn or another piece only diagonally. It can kill another pawn or another piece diagonally. So if this pawn is here, I can kill it diagonally. So in the same way, if the pawn was in front of it, it cannot kill. Pawn or any other piece is in front of it, it cannot kill. It is stand still, or it gets stuck in that place. Now let's move the pawns aside. we'll begin with the rook. Now the rook, as we know, is also locally called as the elephant. This is the rook. Now the rook moves in a plus direction, plus. So that means it can go in front, it can come back, it can go on the left, it can come back, and it can go back to the right. So if I keep it at the center here, okay, my rook can move at a time in front. For the next turn, I can bring it back. For the next turn, I can take it to the left, and for the next turn, I can take it to the right. So every turn, I can move it in front, at the back, and to the left and the right. Now, the rook does not move with regard to the blocks. There are no number of blocks that you need to count to move the rook. You can move the rook according to how the match is played. And for each side, you have two rooks, that is on the right and on the left. So you have two rooks. So let's move this out of the way. Next, we have the knights. Now these knights is not a knight sky. It is the strong knight that protects the king at the time of war. So it's spelled with a K. Now the knight always moves in an L direction, L. Okay? But yet when it moves in an L, it is the only piece on the chessboard that can jump over another piece. So if we have a pawn here, okay, an example, if we have a pawn here, the knight can move directly here, okay, because it is L. Or it can also move from here to here because of its L shape. Or also it can move up to here because of its L shape. So it moves in an L direction. So if we have it here, if this knight is here, so we get an L, that is 1, 2 and 3. Now if we want to count and see how it works, or for some of you all it can be easier counting, we can have it as 1, 2 and a half. So we can say 1, 2 and a half. So we'll move as 1, 2 and a half, but I don't count these blocks. So I have to remember L in my mind, the capital letter L. So in the same way, I can move here, the capital letter L. In the same way, I can move it here. From here, I will move it here. Again from here, I can move it here as it forms this L. Same way it will form this L, same way it will form this L, same way it will form this L, and finally this L. So let's move this out of the way again. So here we have the bishop. Now notice the bishop. The bishop is placed on two different colors. So this bishop can move diagonally on all the white blocks. So when I mean diagonally, that is slanting. So slanting, it can move on the white blocks here. It can come back. It can move again back here. It can come back. It can move here. So every turn I can push it in front. I can pull it back. I can take it to the left. Take it diagonally to the right. And the same way, the bishop on the left hand side is on the darker block. So it moves only on the darker blocks in the same diagonal pattern. And it can move up and down as and when the game requires or you feel the need to move it to a certain position. Let's move the bishop out of the way. Now here we come to the queen. Now the queen is also considered by many people as the strongest piece on the chessboard. It is considered by many people as the strongest piece on the chessboard. And it depends on how you use the queen, how well you use the queen. Now the reason for that is the queen can move in all directions. The queen can move in all directions. So when I say in all directions, it can move in front, it can move at the back, it can move to your left, to your right, diagonally up, diagonally down, diagonally to the left, diagonally to the right. So if we take this higher here, if we take the queen here. The queen can move up, the queen can move down. From here it can move to the right, it can move to the left. From here it can move diagonally down, it can move diagonally up. So the queen can move in all four directions. Now the king can move to one block on all its sides. So that is, one block will be on his diagonally left. From here he can go in front one block. From here he can diagonally right one block. He can go to his left one block, to his right one block, behind one block, diagonally to the back one block, diagonally to the right one block. So he can move one block in front and the back, the left, right, diagonally in front, diagonally back. So this is how the king moves. Now always remember one thing, is that the king can never be killed. The rest of all the pieces that we see, that is the pawns, the knights, the bishops, the rooks, the queen, all the pieces can be killed except the king. The king can never be killed. Whereas the main motto of this chess is to capture the king. The main final winning stroke is to capture the king. When you have captured the king, you win the game.